Well, guys, even though we are midway through Team of the Season and only the middle of May, the FC26 Ultimate Team leaks have begin, one of those words anyway. And we're going to take a little look at what has been announced here today. Some of it feels very positive. Some of it feels very, don't really care. And yeah, all of it will be meaningless until the game actually comes out and we can get a proper grip of the game. But I'm excited to talk about it. So first of all, GG's to Detective Foot. He is the guy bringing out the information. I'll leave his link to his Twitter account down below. So if you want to go and drop him a follow, then please do. But as you can see here from 8 hours ago at the time of recording this, which was 1:06 p.m. May 16th, 2025, Detective Foot says, FC26 main focus. The core of FC26 is live events and tournaments. Now, for those of you that don't remember, tournaments used to be in the game and they were absolutely phenomenal. And although this is a very, very old video of mine from 13 years ago, wow, almost getting more views than what I get these days. Appreciate you guys still either way though. They were just fun, right? There was some offline ones, there were some online ones. And as the years went on, EA developed the tournaments for the good. I don't know why they took them out eventually. I thought they were really, really well received. The Daily Knockout Cup wasn't so great. We'll get there as to why in a moment. But this is what tournaments used to look like, as I say, guys. So you used to get, you'd win it the first time. There was a maximum player quality of gold. Minimum number of players required from one nation was 11. The tournament bonus was 1,500 coins, which back in the day was really good. And you might notice on the screen as well there's the coins, the record, which EA have since hidden, and trophies. And to unlock certain tournaments, you used to have a certain amount of trophies. And it was really, really fun. It was really, really nice. And then when they put some online ones on, let's see if we can find ourselves a little something here. When they put some online ones on there, well, wasn't that minimum quality gold? Maybe I was in a different tournament. The online ones were really, really nice. And yeah, they had some real fun requirements. You could win an inform, I want to say a Suzuki Honda, I want to say as a reward for the tournament, which was way, way, way back when in like FIFA 13 or FIFA 14. And yeah, it was all good. And then they introduced the Daily Knockout tournaments. And the DKT, as they were known, and the Daily Knockouts were first introduced as a segue into Foot Champ. So you had to win a Daily Knockout tournament to be able to qualify for the Weekend League. They were generally quite easy, if we're being honest. I don't know if I showed the actual entry point into the DKT here, because it was listen, it was different. It was different. I don't know if it's... Did I have it on here? No, I went into the store, obviously. Back in day when I used to spam bronze packs. Oh, this is when EA had the stuff over on the left-hand side as well. That's quite interesting. We had the online seasons back then as well. Not the way that we know it now. So I've paused it just about on time there. So DKT, we had 4 attempts remaining. I think you got 4 attempts per day. And then I think they changed it to 8 per day. And then I guess people weren't really qualifying, so they eventually changed it to the point where you just had to win like 8 games in total in the Daily Knockout tournament across the 3 days that it existed. And that's what allowed you into the Weekend League. Going back to what Detective Foot says, he says the core of FC26 is live events and tournaments. Now, I don't know if we're to be confusing live events. Sorry, I was trying to grab my PlayStation there. You might have just seen it, with live foot friendlies. Do you remember... I almost don't want to talk about it. Do you remember the events thing from, I want to say FIFA 23? It might have been FC24. I've buried it deep in the memory because it was so bad. But the events tab where you chose like a side, and it was awful. And then they just left it for a literal year. It was just in there. It's almost like moments is now, where there's just nothing for it whatsoever. I'm not quite sure if live events and tournaments are going to be in live friendlies, or if it's going to be like its own separate mode or separate tab or separate section within Ultimate Team. But that's what the core is going to be. Detective Foot says up to 2 tournaments a week, competitive and friendly. I would presume that competitive is seeded or some sort of MMR. like what we have now in live foot friendlies, where it's like the more you win, the harder it gets, the more you lose, the easier it gets. And friendly, I would presume, is open matchmaking. It is all just presumptions at the moment, though. Possible qualification needed for a tournament. Now, isn't that interesting? Cup and card objectives in tournament modes. Okay, so it is going to be a tournament mode. That's really fun. 2 a week. My initial thought when I read this and saw 2 a week, my initial thought was, that's boring. But that's because mentally, it's the same as it was, right? You start in the round of 16, you win, you go quarterfinal, semi-final, final. It's four games maximum. Obviously, 2 tournaments a week. First of all, they could be a tournament where it's 10 rounds, 10 games, something like that. Secondly, could be a situation where it's repeatable, potentially, which I think would be very nice. But yeah, up to 2 tournaments a week, competitive and friendly. Possible qualification needed. Up and card objectives in tournament modes. Bonus rewards on top of early SBCs. It's quite cryptic. I don't know what a lot of it means, but it does say tournaments will be in the form of live events and not a new game mode. Okay, that answers that question. And live events, then, I guess, will be effectively what we know as live foot friendlies, right? Or if we go into objectives tab right now, there is the live section within objectives. I guess it's just going to be in there like it is now. Is that what they've been doing with this like Xavi Simons Cup and the Maicon and the Paolo Maldini? Is that what this effectively is going to be? If it is, that's not even new. That's the same stuff we've got now, just called something different. I don't know how I feel about that. Hopefully I'll get a little bit more information in the coming days on this one. But Detective Foot then also says, Foot is going to be competitive like never before. Really, really interesting. We've got another exclusive leak here from 51 minutes ago at the time of recording. New roles. The centre-back will have wide-back. The CDM will have box crasher. And the left-back and right-back will have inverted wing-back, which sounds a little bit like the one that already goes inside now, but we'll have to see how it works. And then playstyle updates. Enforcer is new, but when they show the playstyles here, it has in defending, it's got block, intercept, anticipate, jockey, slide tackle, and then bruiser, but it's enforcer. So if enforcer is new, they're removing bruiser. That's what I thought. We'll get back to that in a moment. Aerial is going to become called Aerial Fortress. Not necessary for the change. Flair will be called Trailblazer, and Travella will be called Inventive. Interesting. Is that their way of nerfing Travellas, just removing it from the game? Maybe it is. There'll be a new focus called Versatility. And the disclaimer says, this information is based on what we have in the testing phase. This is not the final game, and things can change until the release. So I want you guys to remember that as well. But follow Detective for more leaks. And one of the responses to this tweet here was, Enforcer will surely be Bruiser 2.0. Bruiser is still there, but I can't see it on here. Or I can't see Enforcer on here. So I'm not quite sure what's what with regards to that one. And then we've got another exclusive FC26 leak, guys, which is coming in as Foot Champions. No more playoffs. I think that's a good thing. I remember, like I said before, like before you had to qualify through the daily knockout tournament, then it changed to the champs playoffs, which obviously in previous years was 10 games where you initially, didn't you have to go 7-3 initially? Might have been 7-3, might have been 6-4. Then it changed to 6-4. Then it changed to only needing to win 4 to qualify. Then this year they removed it. They reduced it down to 5 games, and you had to win 3. And then they changed that again to 2. And so, you know, they've been slowly but surely just, I guess, recognizing it's just a pointless area of the game. So no more playoffs. Division 5 and higher gets access to Foot Champions. Division 6 and lower will get Foot Champ Challengers, a new Foot Champions version for lower division rival players only. Now, the first thing I saw when people responded to that was going, oh my God, people are just going to smurf and ruin it. I don't think I don't think that will happen. I'm not saying it won't happen ever. Of course, it probably will. But I don't think it will happen to the tune that people think it will happen to, because I think we're in a situation where I hope that EA have got the rewards for Div 5 Plus and Foot Champs being worthy to the point where people would not want to smurf in Division 6 and Foot Champs Challengers, which in turn might mean that Division 6 and lower rewards and Foot Champ Challengers rewards are really bad, which also would be an incentive for people to not actually be there. And again, the disclaimer is this information is based on what we have in a testing phase. So no more playoffs, Div 5 and above for Foot Champs, and Div 6 and lower quality for Foot Champs Challengers. And then for Division Rivals League, guys, checkpoints have turned into stage events with objectives that give extra rewards. For example, score first in the next game. I can't visualize what that means in my mind, because obviously the checkpoints were like, you get halfway up through the division, you hit a checkpoint, which means if you lose from there, you just don't go down. You stay there and you can build. I don't know how making it an objective will influence that in any way. I can't visualize what that necessarily means. Win streaks will equal double rivals points, which has been so needed. If you get 2 times the win, you should get 2 times the points. And the reason why that is really good, because no matter how many points it is, then again, it incentivizes you to sit down, play, get good, go on a streak, go up the divisions and get your points a lot quicker. There will be relegation protection for tough runs, and penalties for leaving too many games is being tested. For example, can't queue for X minutes, time penalty. I know that a lot of people will have a negative kind of feeling towards that because I've talked about that in previous iterations of the game. Like, I personally think if you like, okay, there's 2 things. If you press pause and go and quit match and press yes, I don't mind that, because if you do that, your opponent gets the win, or at least in this year, if it's over after the 45-minute, or if they've got a red card, you get the win. I think that should be from effective kickoff. I know that EA probably don't want that due to hackers, but if we can just separate the cross-play to Xbox and PlayStation only, and PC could just go back to its own side of things, I think that's a good thing to do. If you want to go and back out, quit the game, give the other person the win, I don't think there should be any penalty for that. That's you just recognizing that you're in a game that you're being bested in and you don't want to stay there, right? Like, that's absolutely fine. However, if you dashboard, that I think should be like penalized, because if you dashboard, somebody doesn't get the win for you quitting. They just acts as if it doesn't happen. I know in other games, like real good competitive games like League of Legends and stuff, there are like you get penalized for leaving games. Like you get penalized just for leaving one game. You get like a 30-minute queue ban, basically. So I don't know how EA will necessarily implement that to the point where A, it makes sense and seems fair, and B, isn't exploitable, but hopefully they're testing it well and it's something that can be interesting for the game. And once again, the disclaimer here is this information is based on what they have in the testing phase. Yeah, there's nothing new on his timeline, guys. So that's all we have for now. But I found it really interesting that we are in the middle of May and we're already getting FC26 leaks. FC25 is in a really strange space. Even when we look at the team of the season teams that were released at the time of recording this less than 4 hours ago, on the Europe Select team of the season, other than Shaqiri at 2 million and Maeda at 100,000, everybody else is basically discarded. You've also got Rodinei at 71,000. That's insane. For the NWSL, you've got a few over the million mark, Wilson and Chawinga, Rodman just under. Almost everybody else, including 96 rated cards, are 160,000 coins or less. And then even more unbelievably, from the Serie A, you've got players like Lookman with 99 dribbling on 100,000 coins. You've got 96 Barella, who looks brilliant for 450,000 coins. Di Lorenzo looks brilliant, cheap. DeMarco looks brilliant, cheap. Orsolini, so good, cheap. Like, these cards are so cheap. And so, yes, whilst there are a few expensive ones like Bastoni, like Retegui, and then maybe Scott McTominay as well, who's got an absolutely brilliant card, I feel like people are just almost done with this game. Like, the power curve got pushed so quick, so fast, so heavy, so high, that people's teams are exceptional now. And it's not like we can just wait for the next power curve to improve it incrementally, because most people have got like well, let's have a look at the let's have a look at the season pass. Most people have got, and I know I've got this as well. I've done this on 3 accounts now, but most people have got Ferran Torres 95 with 4 Playstar Pluses, who's insane. Frank Ribery 96, who I thoroughly enjoyed. Chiesa 95, who I thought was insane. Dan Burn 94, who is unbelievable. You've got that Pepe card that's very good. Goosens, who's decent. You've got the Lautaro Martinez or Donny van der Beek, who's very good. All of these packs giving all of this content, all of these SBCs, the Frimpong SBC from last week, the Dybala SBC from this week. If you were good enough to get that Xavi Simons, he's going to be in your team, to the point where it's like even if EA released 97, 98, 99 rated players now, it kind of just is meh. Like, the game is just kind of in a meh situation. So I'm not surprised that FC26 information is coming off the back of that. But what I do hope for is that EA find a way to make playing the game over time more enjoyable next year. Because this year, I've just finished a 6-hour RTG and a 500k RTG. So I did this one here, right? 500,000 coins for the season pass. It took me almost no time at all to get the 500,000 coins. And then it took me a little bit of grinding every day to get the 40,000 SP. And then lo and behold, I had an absolutely bonkers team at the end of it for almost no effort. And whilst I don't want the game to be like so kind of like, I don't know, so boring. So it's like, I don't want it to be so tedious that it takes like, you know, an hour to do like a menial task. But there has to be a way to make playing the game more fun. And at the moment, because we've only really got competitive champs, competitive rivals, and then that competitive like up from last week that had the Xavi Simons and such, like, there's nowhere to just play the game. Even though when there would be somewhere to play the game, people wouldn't play the game because there would be no rewards attached. I know it's a catch-22 for EA, but they need to figure out a way that people enjoy playing the game from, where there's not a whole bunch of rewards, but it is still enjoyable. And hey, that's a big task for them. But yeah, guys, I thought I'd just share with you the FC26 information here today. As more comes out, we'll make more updated videos. I'm really looking forward to it. I had a weird year on FC25 this year. I kind of felt disengaged with the game because it felt too easy. And, you know, I've got so many accounts. Like, I built a full icon team in 6 hours on the game, you know, like, okay, they weren't all the most premium icons, but still the fact that it only took 6 hours is like absolutely insane in my personal opinion. I did a team of the season warm-up RTG where all I did was a daily warm-up content that EA gave. And by the end of the game, by the end of the week when team of the season came, I had packed effectively a full team of the season just from the warm-up stuff. And whilst these are fun experiments and fun to kind of sit there for a really small period of time and create something like this, it is just too easy. It is just too easy. And so for that reason, I think I've been disengaged with the game, because for me, the game was always about showing people how to get the most out of the game without spending money and kind of following my journey. And so when we used to start the old RTGs, and this one, FIFA 20 from 5 years ago, it was a journey. And things like showing you how to buy or when to buy fitness cards and then sell them again to make the most profit. Things like how to utilize contracts to your advantage. You used to actually have to go, and this would be hilarious actually, you used to have to go into squad battles or rivals with bronze players in your starting squad, because your starting squad would be so bad. This is my starting squad, for example, in FIFA 20, right? This is it. It's bad. It's bad. And that's after my video being 30 minutes long, which means I probably spent about 3, 4, 5 hours on the actual game to get that. If we take a look in the same token at the start of the RTG this year, I'm willing to bet that my team already had promo cards in it by the start, or rather, should I say, by the end of the first episode. So we've got, where's episode 1? There we go. Right, a brand new start, episode 1. Let's see what we were left with come the end of the game. Well, I was right. There was a promo card there. We've got Tim Howard 85. We've got a Bellingham loan. We've got Zakaria 84 in form. It's not as good of a team as I thought it was going to be in my mind. But still, compare that to the common gold cruds that we just had. This is what I'm talking about, right? The game just got way too easy. It got made far, far, far too easy for casuals. And I really hope EA managed to remedy that next year, because I love this game and I love this franchise. You know, I've spent a lot of years making content on this game and playing it inside out. And I just want to sit down sometimes and feel like my time is worth playing on the game. And in these moments, doesn't always feel like that. Let me know what you think down below anyway, guys. As always, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And we'll see you next time. I'm out. Peace.